We had the training, 30 staff. We came back and we had our first staff meeting, common room meeting. And I remember, I'll never forget the day when the greatest cynic on our staff stood up, because I had asked for feedback and I did not prep anyone. And I saw him stand up and my heart sank. I thought, oh, here we go. The battle line has been drawn. And he got up and he started to quiver in his voice. And he said, Scott, I just want to correct you. He said it wasn't professional development. He said it was personal development. It was the most powerful development in his 35 years at Knox, 35 years at the one school that he has ever been involved in. And we said, okay, can you explore that further? And he said one of the greatest things was speaking to 29 other people that he hadn't stopped to speak to in the busyness of working in our organisation. And that was unbelievably powerful. After that, we are now up to 280 staff members that have been trained in the principles and philosophy of positive education for Knox. We call it peak positive education at Knox. So that's how powerful the empowerment and trust with our staff and the response that we received and where we are now. Suddenly, we changed the structures. And I don't want to talk about the structures of the school because I've only got a short amount of time, and that's where I'm willing to share and for you to come out to the school and I can show you. But we had staff members that were being empowered to take on leadership positions within positive education. So suddenly, rather than just having the executive, middle management and staff, we actually had a much broader approach to our leadership model. So again, that empowerment was very, very well received by the staff. We had people that had no inclination or thought they had no inclination to take on a leadership role. And all of a sudden they thought it was like a fire had been lit in their bellies, and they thought, I want to leave a mark, or I want to get involved, I want to be part of this. So leadership positions were created. They were needed, but they were created. So we had a broad approach to leadership. And again, it's the structures, and we don't want to be driven by structures, but it's very important. On the one hand, we do need those structures to allow that sustainability and the delivery of what we're trying to do as an organisation. Our vision, our long-term vision, is the optimal functioning of the school, the staff, the students, the parents, the school as a whole. Our relationship with the school council as well is really important, especially for an independent school. They are our stakeholders, our shareholders, if you like. Positive education, positive psychology. It's quite simply, positive education is a strand of positive psychology. It's looking at the foundations of positive psychology and applying it to traditional education, mixing it together, and Knoxifying it. In other words, suiting it to the culture of your organisation. So what works for us wouldn't work for the girls' school down the road. If I was to work in a girls' school and we were to look at, and I was to deliver a session on mentoring, because we have a mentor structure at Knox, and if I was to have a mentor group of girls and I was to talk about flourishing, that may work. If I was to walk into my mentor group and say, boys, we're going to talk about flourishing, they'd be out the door in 20 seconds. But if I was to go in and say, hey, fellas, we're going to look at grit, or we're going to talk about your goals, and we're going to talk about in classroom goals. No, you're in first 15, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, what's your goals in first 15? And suddenly we have a conversation that is powerful and engaging with the student. And suddenly he thinks, wow, this person actually knows me beyond the classroom. So these are all spin-off benefits, if you like. It's very difficult to explain in the time, but these are some of the things that started to evolve at the school. In terms of staff, team was important. And as one person described it, it's learning to fight without leaving scars. So, which I'm still not very happy about, but it's better than leaving scars, I suppose. But what we had is staff starting to work together. There was a common goal, a common theme, a common shared vision. What is Knox about? And it's basically what we do here at school. When we walk in the gates at whatever time and leave the gates at whatever time, that time in between is Knox time. And staff are paramount to everything that is delivered. It's not dictated from top down. It's a broad approach to leadership at the school that has been so effective. The bottom quote is probably the most important. We wanted everyone to be conversant with positive psychology and the language. Language is really important, that shared theme, to transform the culture of the school, because that's the common link. That's something that I have in common with my colleague, and it's only something that we share at Knox, and that's really powerful in itself. The impact so far, you can see there, the language has changed for both our staff and students. The staff room now is full of nurturing conversations where there's this level of empathy and understanding with each other and tolerance. Our staff room meetings are no longer below the line staff room meetings. There's no more administrivia. You go to a meeting, the last thing you want is someone up there saying, tomorrow we have change of period order, period 4. Hang on, people are so busy, they don't want all of that. There's other ways to deliver that information. Now we're going in there and we're talking about pedagogical practices and teaching practices and the best way to get the best out of our boys in the classroom, but just as importantly, outside the classroom. It's no longer focused what's happening inside that little silo of a classroom. And the support for our staff is paramount. That's an example of what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. We now have a health and wellbeing program that's about to start on the 17th, started last week. We're now involved in the Global Challenge. I don't know if any organisations are involved in the Global Challenge. We do things like that. We have healthy heart weeks. We have blood pressure checks. We have cholesterol checks. We have the flu shots. They're little things, but they're big things, because staff feel that we're in it together, but we're caring for the staff, we're caring for each other, and the flow and effect is we're caring for the boys, and that connection suddenly becomes greater and more powerful. In terms of cultural change, measurement was really important, and our association with Louise and the Voice team has been paramount, because our interventions are measurable and they keep us on track. It's okay for us to stand there and go, oh yeah, things are working well. Well, how do we know things are working well? And it's the data, the rich data that we get back from our staff through the surveys, the cultural surveys. We look at 5 key areas of the school that Louise conducts, and she's come out and presented to the staff, and that was powerful in itself, because staff have a voice and they can see the results up in front of them, and they are at times confronting. Louise always presents the results to us so we can get ready and put the suit of armour on, so when we go in and the staff are there. But if you don't want honesty, don't ask the question. And we want honest feedback, because we are serious about the change that we are adopting at the school. If we don't get that honest feedback, we're kidding ourselves. So we survey the boys, and MMG's Macquarie Marketing Group, and they come in, they're an external provider. In terms of our staff, it's voice. So if we look at the survey, I don't know if the results come up, you should be able to see those results. We are compared to 52 like schools, and if you can see our results in 2011, 2012 in a comparison group, you can see the change in the data and how well we are plotting against other schools. It's not because we wanted to be better than other schools. They give us that information. I'm not here to say that we are doing it better or we're better than them or better than that. That's not what it's about. It's more reassuring for us that the key areas of the school are actually improving. Pastoral care, for example, 88% satisfaction rate from our students. Comparison groups are around about 78. That's a significant difference. So we are tracking in the right direction. In terms of the voice, this was really, really powerful. And this is my last slide. Thank you. Again, we are very proud of the information that Louise presented. This is the latest bit of data from Louise and the team. You can see that there are 5 key areas that we look at, and 26 micro areas, if you like. And then we end up, and I don't know how you do it, Louise, but we end up with our passion and progress index scale scores. And up the top you can see we have the legend of high, medium and low in terms of stakeholder satisfaction, if you like. And we are very, very proud to see that we have very passionate staff in terms of passion and organisation to the commitment to the organisation, job satisfaction, intention to stay. Really, really impressive for us, and it's telling us that, well, we are heading in the right direction. We've really early started this journey. We're really in the preliminary stages. There's going to be modifications, continual improvements and changes and tweaks, but this information is really, really powerful. There are 3 areas that we are low on. Cross-unit cooperation, involvement and flexibility. It's very difficult to improve flexibility in a school setting. We are regulated by bells, just the very nature of a school organisation. But that's something that we definitely can look at. In terms of involvement, I look at it as a positive actually, because our staff are now used to being involved. They want to be involved. They've started with the AI interviews, they've started with follow-up interviews with Susie, they've been interviewed with Louise and the Voice Project, they've been interviewed with PhD students, surveyed. So they're used to having a voice, and they want more involvement and continued involvement, and they're telling us that. So I see that actually as a positive. I might be delusional, but I'm going to stick with that. And the cross-unit cooperation, they're saying they want more. They want faculties working, or greater opportunities to work together as colleagues, to share ideas with one another. And that's a great position to be in. If you have faculties or departments wanting to work with one another, what better position to be in than that? And I'm finding that very, very affirming. So that's it. Thank you.